yoga today. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If this is your first time taking this class, first and foremost, welcome. I will not expect you to know the names of poses. So I'll talk about alignment, especially our first couple times through the poses. As we get more comfortable, I'll be able to give less direction. We will repeat a lot of our poses throughout this class. It's loosely vinyasa based if you're familiar with yoga. That means there's a flow-like movement to our poses, and we give an emphasis to our inhales and our exhales. If this is your first time to yoga, I want to point out that at the end of our practice, we finish with a final rest period. We lay flat on our backs for about 3 to 4 minutes. And the point of that practice is to absorb the benefits of the class of our body, give our body some time to reset, but it's also a time for self-reflection and a time to look inside as well. Because yoga is not just about what we do in our physical body and the stretching that we do or the toning that we do, it's also about getting to know ourselves better as well. Before we jump in, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body throughout class. Take breaks if you need. You can always jump back in whenever you're ready, and always check with the doctor before you start a new exercise plan. Today we're going to start in a seated position. So you'll face the front of your mat and take any comfortable seated position. For me, that's legs crossed. If that's not entirely comfortable for you, you're not able to sit with legs crossed with your spine upright. Something a little easier might be to make a loose diamond shape with the legs, bringing the bottoms of the feet together. If you wiggle the hips a little back and let the chest lean forward naturally, you can find a length in the spine without having to engage the core much. So try both of those out, see what you can hold for maybe a few moments, a minute or two. And we'll start here by dropping our chin to the chest, focusing on a spot on the floor, or closing the eyes completely and bringing your attention to your breath. Maybe deepening the breath just a little. Just centering ourselves, coming present in our bodies. Focus stays on the breath. Then lift your chin from the chest, resume your natural pattern of breath if you decided to deepen the breath, and place your fingers out at your sides. Arms out at your sides, fingertips to floor, helping to lengthen the spine a bit more, relaxing shoulders down the back. And starting with the tailbone, start to round the spine, moving the roundness up the spine until you drop your chin to your chest. Again, tailbone leads the movement as you start to lift and arch the spine, moving the lift and the arch all the way up until head tilts up to ceiling. And then slowly rounding the spine again, dropping chin to chest. So rounding the spine, then lifting and arching. Keep moving through the rounding and the lifting at your own pace. Maybe try closing the eyes, focusing on the sensations in the body. Starting to loosen up the muscles around the spine and starting to engage and wake up our core as well. A few more times rounding and lifting here. Maybe exhaling as you round and lifting as you arch. And slowly finding stillness. Arms out at the sides. Shoulder rolls, bringing the shoulders up towards the ear, relaxing them down the back. Nice, big, and exaggerated circles, loosening up the shoulders, and reversing direction, bringing the shoulders down and around the front. Then again, slowing down until you find stillness, fingertips to floor. Bring your right arm up to the ceiling, reach through the tips of the fingers and add a side bend over to the left. Core is engaged, belly button's drawing in towards the spine. Right ribs are reaching high towards the ceiling. Both sides of the body are long. As you exhale, lower the raised hand down to the floor. Inhale brings the left arm up to the ceiling. Exhale into side bend. Chin stays lifted from the chest as you breathe into the chest. Breathing into the ribs. Exhale, brings fingertips down to the floor. Twisting from the belly, turning to the right into spinal twist. Right hand is directly behind you, left hand comes towards the front. Gazing and looking out over right shoulder. Spine stays long. Core stays engaged. As you exhale, unwind, returning to center, fingertips at your sides. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, spinal twist to opposite side. Left hand directly behind you, looking out over the shoulder. Taking a few breaths here. As you exhale, unwind and face forward. Coming into tabletop on the hands and the knees, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked under the hips. Turn the hands so fingertips face towards the long edges of the mat. So left hand's facing towards the left, right hand's towards the right. Then walk the hands, so now fingertips face towards the knees. Hands turn back towards the long edges of the mat. Hands turn forward, loosening up the wrist here. Keep repeating this movement. Fingertips turn out to long edges of the mat. Fingertips turn towards the knees. Then back out to edges of the mat and forward. Let's do that one more time. At your own pace. Prepping our wrists for our planks. And we'll finish with fingertips facing towards the front of the mat. With the right hand, we'll flip it, top of hand comes down to the mat. Hold that for a couple seconds here. Then return palm face down. Same thing with the left hand, top of hand to mat, we'll hold it here. Then flip the hand, palm to the mat. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Heel is in line with hip. Draw the belly in towards the spine, engaging the core. Tabletop crunch, right knee draws in towards the chest, round and lift away from the mat, lifting the knee as high as you can away from the mat, then extending the leg behind you again, holding here. Exhale, tabletop crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, draw the belly in, lift away from the mat, drawing everything in. Inhale to extend the leg one last time. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest, then step or place the foot into lunge, ankle below the knee, foot is in between the hands. As you draw the breath in through your nose, left arm lifts out in front and up overhead. Exhale the hands behind you, fingertips return to mat. Nice deep breaths with a rotation of the shoulder. Inhaling, arm out in front, up overhead. Exhaling as hand comes down and comes back to mat. One last time, deep breath in, deep breath out. Lift the left arm back to the ceiling and we'll hold here into a twist. Gaze is at the upraised hand. Forward foot stays flat to the mat. Left hand returns down to the floor. Extend the forward leg long behind you, pointing through the toes. Then return to tabletop. Left leg extends, heel in line with hip. Draw the belly in as you exhale, tabletop crunch, knee to chest, lift away from the mat. Inhale to extend. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest, draw the belly in, lift that knee high. Inhale to extend. Exhale, last time, knee draws in, and step or place the foot into lunge. Foot is in between the hands. As you inhale, right arm lifts up. Exhale, complete the circle. 2 more times, deep breath in. Exhale. Last time, breath in. Breath out. Right arm returns to the ceiling. Gaze is up. Holding here, not holding the breath. Engaging our core. Return the fingertips to the mat. Step back into a tabletop position on the hands and the knees. Plant the hands flat to mat. Lower the elbows down to the floor into puppy pose. Elbows stacked under shoulders, palms face down, and head relaxes, gazing between the knees. Just breathing here, getting a little length in the spine. Shake the head yes and no a few times. Help relieve any tension in the neck. Allow the head to hang a little heavier. If you'd like a little more sensation in the shoulders, try inching the elbows forward, turning thumbs up towards the ceiling. Hollowing out the armpits so shoulders stay engaged, head is still relaxed. If you ever try an option to take something a step further and it doesn't feel right, you can always take a step backwards as well. Don't feel obligated to take things past your limit. If you walk the elbows out, bring them back in till they're stacked under the shoulders. Then everyone settle into child's pose, hips all the way down to the heels, forehead rest on the mat. Separating the knees to make some space for your belly, but keeping the toes touching. And we'll take a few moments of stillness here with our breath to finish our warm-up. Child's pose, the pose that we're in, is option 1 for your rest position anytime during the class, whether I cue it or not. This pose is accessible to you. If you feel uncomfortable in child's pose, particularly in the knees or the hips, return to puppy pose, elbows to mat, elbows under shoulders. Deepen the breath just a little bit, filling up the back side of the body, the sides of the body, expanding the lungs. On your next inhale, meet me in tabletop position on the hands and the knees. Lift up to the tips of your fingers and extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Exhale to tabletop crunch, knee to chest, around the spine, lift that knee high, step or place the foot into lunge. Right toes tuck onto the mat. Lift the right knee into the air, lifting up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward, drawing belly in. Step up to half lift, right foot steps up to the top of the mat, hands come to the shins, back is flat, gaze is down towards the floor. Bend the knees into forward fold, knees gently bend, hinging from the hips, dropping ribs towards the thighs, arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, one vertebrae at a time, starting at the tailbone. Round your spine up to a standing position. Letting your chin come up from the chest last, standing nice and tall at the top of your mat. Relaxing shoulders down the back. And pausing here. So now I'm going to demo our plank sequence for the week. Every week we have a new plank sequence to target our core. So I'm going to demo first and then we're going to tie it into the class together. So we'll start in a plank position. Fingers are spread nice and wide, heels in line with hips, in line with shoulders. I always give us a countdown so you know that our sequence is coming. Something like our sequence will start in 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna start with shoulder taps today. So it doesn't matter which hand you start with. I'm gonna start with my right. It's gonna cross over to my left shoulder. So we'll do shoulder, shoulder, switching sides, shoulder, and shoulder. Then we'll do crunch. Right knee is gonna cross over to the left armpit. It doesn't have to get all the way over there, but you want to aim for the armpit and lift away from the mat just like we did in our tabletop crunch. So shoulder, 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 crunch, 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 and crunch. We'll move down to a forearm plank. We'll hold the plank here for 5 seconds. We'll lower down to our bellies and we'll take the sequence from there. So we'll all start standing at the top of our mat with our feet hips width distance apart. Ground your feet into the mat. Stand nice and tall out through the crown of your head. Relax shoulders down the back. Palms are face forward. Deep breaths into the chest. As you inhale, lift the arms overhead, gaze up. As you exhale, hinge forward into forward fold, gently bending the knees, dropping ribs to the thighs, letting arms and head hang heavy. If the ribs are very far from your thighs, bend your knees a little bit more to bring them closer. No matter how much the knees are bent, low belly's engaged, hips stay reaching towards the side to keep our legs engaged, head hangs heavy. Rise, half lift, flatten back, hands to shins. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Step back into a plank position, and we'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Shoulder, 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 crunch, crunch. Keep those knees high, and crunch. Forearm plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down to the mat, tops of feet to mat and hands under shoulders, elbows up to ceiling. Press the hips into the floor, engage your core to lift your chest off the mat into baby cobra, chin lifts from the chest. Then press yourself into child's pose, hips all the way down to heels and forehead to mat. Let's keep those heart rates up. As we inhale, we'll meet back in a tabletop position and exhale here. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, point through the toes. Tabletop crunch to exhale. Step or place the foot into lunge. Left toes tuck onto the mat. Lifting the knee, lifting up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, back is flat. Lower forward fold, drop the ribs to thighs, crown of head reaches to floor. Tuck your chin in towards your chest and round your spine slowly up to a standing position. Once you're standing nice and tall at the top of your mat, palms face forward, take a deep breath in, lift the arms overhead, gaze up. Exhale, back to forward fold, ribs come down to thighs, let the head hang. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step back into a plank position, and we'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Shoulder, 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 and shoulder. Crunch, 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 and crunch. Forearm plank. We're holding for 5. Take a look back at your heels. Make sure you're in alignment. Heels, hips, shoulders. Then lower all the way down to the chest. Elbows up to ceiling. Press hips into floor. Inhale, lift the chest, baby cobra. Then exhale to child's pose, hips to heels. Inhale, meet me back in tabletop. Exhale here. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Extend your left leg behind you. Exhale, tabletop crunch, knee to chest. Step or place the foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Knee lifts, hands to shins. Lower to forward fold, belly, ribs, drop down to thighs. Tuck chin into chest, round the spine, up to standing, nice and slow. Stand nice and tall at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, ribs to thighs. Inhale, half lift, flatten the back. Step back into a plank position and drop the knees to tabletop. If you'd like to add a challenge to your tabletop crunches, try them with hands flat. You'll notice you'll have to round more, lift away from the mat more, engage your core more. Start by extending your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Exhale, tabletop crunch, knee to chest. Inhale to extend. Exhale to crunch. We're going for 3. Inhale. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest. Hold it here. Don't hold the breath. See if you can lift that knee a little bit higher. Maybe even give it a kiss. Then step or place the foot into lunge. Lift up to the tips of the fingers if you're not there already. Lift the right knee off the mat. Hands come to the forward thigh. And lift the arms overhead into high lunge. Left knee stays stacked over the ankle. Hips are square towards the front of the mat. Roll the ball of the right foot. Open to 5-pointed star, turning to face the right side of your mat, lowering your arms down at shoulder height, turning the feet to face forward. Just the left foot turns to face the front of the mat, and bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it right over the ankle. If you don't feel enough opening in the hips here, you can widen your stance. Keep pressing into the pinky edge of the right foot. Keep the left knee tracking towards pinky toe. Hips and shoulders are facing the long edge of the mat. Lower to side angle, bringing the elbow down towards your thigh. Right arm raises up to frame the ear. Nice long line from tips of fingers down to heel. Core is engaged, right ribs are reaching towards the ceiling. And we'll lift back to warrior two. Exhale, side angle, elbow down. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, back to side angle. Find the twist as you lift the ribs to ceiling. Inhale, warrior two. Last time, exhale, we're strengthening our core, strengthening our legs. Inhale, warrior two. Straighten the forward leg. Find reverse warrior variation. Left arm up to ceiling. Right arm hangs heavy at our sides. Core is still engaged. Belly's drawing close to the body. Breathing here, getting a little stretch on the left side of the body, still working the core. Return to warrior two with the knee bent, arms at shoulder height, then windmill the arms down to lunge, lifting the right heel off the mat. Step back into plank. We'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Shoulder, 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 and shoulder. Crunch, 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 and crunch. Find your forearm plank and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Hands under shoulders, deep breath in, baby cobra, chest lifts. Exhale, child's pose, hips to heels. We will take a short rest here. Find your breath. Just hang as heavy on your mat as you can. Deepen the breath. On your inhale, return to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Tabletop crunch, left leg extends behind us. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest, and step or place the foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift, hands to shins, back flat. Exhale as you lower forward fold, ribs to thighs, crown of head to floor. And we'll round the spine nice and slow as we rise up to standing. And we all meet in standing, standing nice and tall with purpose at the top of our mat, standing like warriors, nice and strong. Inhale, bringing arms overhead, gaze up. Exhale out through the mouth, return to forward fold. Inhale to rise to half lift. Exhale as you step back into plank and drop the knees to tabletop. Optional to lift up the tips of the fingers for tabletop crunch, extending the right leg behind you. Exhale, knee to chest. We're going for 3. Inhale to extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale. Exhale, crunch, knee to chest. Keep that knee nice and high. Give it a kiss if you did on the opposite side. Then step or place the foot into lunge. Lift the left knee off the mat. Hands come to forward thigh. Arms extend overhead, high lunge. Right knee over the ankle, ball of left foot. Keep your core engaged. Core is always engaged. Relax the shoulders away from your ears. Open to 5-pointed star, facing the left side of your mat and lowering arms down to shoulder height. Right foot turns forward. Bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it over the ankle. Pinky edge of the left foot is lined up with the short edge of the mat. Hips and shoulders facing long edge of the mat. You're gazing out over right hand. Then exhale, side angle, elbow down, free arm frames the ear. Find the twist. Inhale to lift, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Core is engaged. Inhale, warrior two. Two more times. Exhale, draw the belly in as you twist. Inhale. Last time. Strengthening those cores. Warrior two, straighten the forward leg, give it a break. Find reverse warrior, right arm up to ceiling. Deep breaths into the chest and into the ribs. Use your exhale, returning to warrior two, arms at shoulder height, knee bends. Windmill the arms down into lunge, left heel lifts off the mat. Step back into plank, and we'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Shoulder, 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 crunch, 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 and crunch. Forearm plank. For 5, 4, 3. Lower all the way down to the mat. Deep breath in through nose, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose, hips to heels. Take a short rest here. Find your breath, let go onto the mat. Inhale, returning to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Extend your right leg behind you. Exhale to tabletop crunch. Step the foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Hands to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Ribs down to thighs. See if you can draw the inhale out as you slowly round the spine up to standing. And exhale at the top. Take both hands together at heart center. Lower your chin down towards the chest. Eyes can be closed or your gaze is focused on one spot on the floor. Bring your focus back to your breath. Relax your shoulders down the back. Standing nice and tall. Lifting chin from chest and releasing arms down at your sides. We're going to move into a little bit of balancing here. We're going to take standing head to knee today. I think it's been a while since we've practiced that one. We're going to start with all of our weight in our right leg. Plant that right foot down to the mat, lift the toes up, spread them wide, place them back down to the floor. Tiny micro bend in the standing leg. Don't lock out the joint. When we lock out the joint, we rely on the joint to hold us up rather than the muscle. So tiny micro bend, glute is engaged, thigh is engaged. Slowly lift the left knee up until it's in line with the hip, interlace the fingers and grab hold of the front of the knee there. We're gonna hold here, standing nice and tall, almost puffing out our chest. If this is a challenge for you, work here, lowering the toes down to the floor, lifting them up towards the hand, back and forth through the remainder of the exercise. Keep your gaze focused on one spot for a little bit of stability. If you have your hands on your knee, you want a little bit of a challenge, try taking the interlaced fingers, placing them on the ball of the foot. Still standing up nice and tall, drawing the belly in, not locking out the standing leg or holding here. Not holding the breath. If hand is on the foot, bring the hand back to the knee. We'll all place our left foot down to the floor and then bend both knees, just giving that standing leg a break. We're gonna switch all the way into our left foot now. Lift those toes up, spread them wide, plant them down towards the floor. Tiny micro bend in the knee, glute is engaged. Right knee draws in, we interlace the fingers and hold on to the front of the knee, opening the front of the chest, engaging our core. Finding something that we can focus on that's not moving, keeping our focus there. Working to steady the breath. If you challenge yourself by placing the hands on the ball of the foot on the opposite side, do the same here. Keep standing nice and tall and engaging the core. If hand is on the foot, bring it back to the knee. We'll all step our right foot down to the floor, bend the knees, give the standing leg a break. Just wring out the arms like a noodle. Find a little bit of a wiggle, releasing lasting tension from the body. Then stand nice and tall still, just like we've been doing the whole class. Palms face forward, shoulders relax down the back, standing tall with purpose, lifting chin slightly from the chest. Give me a deep breath in through the nose of both arms overhead. Exhale, fold, ribs to thighs. We'll take a few breaths here. If you'd like to try different variations of forward fold, optional to open up the shoulders and the chest. Try taking the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, pressing palms together as you extend the arms up towards the ceiling. Shoulders wrap behind the heart, ribs are still reaching down towards the thighs. And if you feel any discomfort when you're trying this variation, just return to what we've been doing, arms reaching down towards the floor. If fingers are still interlaced behind you, release your grip, let your arms come down in front of you. We'll all rise to half lift, flatten our back. Take a moment here, draw shoulders away from your ears. Tiny micro bends in the legs, core is engaged. Nice, long, strong spines. And step back into plank for our last plank sequence. We will start in 3, 2, 1. Shoulder, 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 and shoulder. Crunch, 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 and crunch. Forearm plank. Holding for 15 seconds this time, but you are welcome to tap out at any time if it becomes a challenge for you. The most important thing is to not hold your breath. Keep your core engaged, total body engaged. We're still holding here. We're still holding here. And we release all the way down. Arms along the sides of the body this time. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Bring the big toes together, let the heels fall away from one another. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, melt onto your mat. Let everything go. Wiggle the shoulders away from the ears. Palms are face up towards the sky. And gently turn your head to the opposite side. Place your chin on the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press yourself into child's pose, hips to heels. Trying a rounded variation this time by drawing the arms along the sides of your body, palms face up, forehead still pressed to the mat, shoulders rolled down towards the floor. Slowly meeting me in a seated position, sitting in the center of your mat with your legs extended forward. I'll give everyone a few seconds to get there. Once you're in your seated position, bend your knees, planting your feet on the mat, and place hands on the back side of your thighs. Grounding your sits bones into the mat, so you're not on your tailbone. Finding length through the spine, engaging your core, shoulders away from ears. Lift up to the balls of the feet. You could stay here, still engaging the core just like this. You're just finding some ease in the practice. If you'd like more of a challenge, also challenging your balance, float your feet off the mat, lifting heels in line with the knees. Spine stays long, chest stays lifted. We're gonna hold here for about 15 seconds. Nice deep breaths into your chest in whatever position you're in. And then you can either draw the knees in closer to your body and roll right onto your back, or plant your feet first and roll down that way, whichever makes you most comfortable. Once you're on your back, draw both knees in towards your chest, strong thighs close to body, feet side by side. Fingers are interlaced, holding below the knees. Unless that causes discomfort in your knees, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. Chin tucks in towards the chest. Just find some comfort in your stillness here. Decompressing the low spine. Extend just the left leg onto the mat, holding onto right knee. Both feet are flexed into wind relieving posture. Really massaging our ascending colon here, part of our digestive system. Now switching sides, left knee draws in, right leg is on the mat. And release, so both legs are on the mat. Lifting the arms overhead, giving me a nice long stretch, stretching through the tips of the fingers down, through the tips of the toes. Then draw knees in towards your chest, making yourself a tiny ball once again. Maybe rocking side to side this time. Finding stillness. Releasing your arms down at the mat, palms face up at shoulder height. Knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist, and head turns to the left. Start with the knees in line with the hips. If you need any less sensation, lower the knees down below the hips. If you want a little more sensation, draw the knees a little higher than the hips. Sensations are okay, but you don't want to feel any pinching, so adjust yourself accordingly. Find a position you can hang in for about 20 to 30 seconds. Getting a nice stretch on the side of the body for the neck, opening the chest. Manipulating our spines. you're comfortable closing the eyes, I suggest you do so now, as this is our last pose before final resting pose. Slowly draw the knees into the center of the chest, then let them fall to the left, head turns to the right. Draw the knees in towards the chest one last time, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs, drawing thighs close to body. Lift your head to meet your knees. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold the breath at the top. Squeeze your body nice and tight into a tiny little ball. As you exhale out through the mouth, let the body go, let the breath go. Lay flat on the mat into final resting pose. Spreading the legs and the arms nice and wide, taking up as much space as you can. Palms face up, toes fall away from one another. Deep breath in through the nose, and as you slowly exhale out through your mouth, melt back onto your mat. Let everything go. Relax the muscles around the face and the brow. And follow the rise and fall of the chest or your belly. Allow the dependable, repetitive, rhythmic movement of your inhale and exhale move you deeper into relaxation. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring movement back into your body. Then gently roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side, using your arm to support your head like a pillow. Keeping the eyes closed or your gaze lowered to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Today, we will add movement to our breath. We exhale round the spine, drop chin to chest. We inhale, lift and arch the spine, tilting head up towards the ceiling. So that we're all together, let's round our spine, press all the breath we have out of the body, dropping chin to chest. Then we'll breathe in through the nose, lifting and arching the spine for 1. Exhaling out through the mouth, rounding the spine, chin to chest. Breathing in through the nose as we lift and arch for 2. Exhaling, rounding, chin to chest. Last time, making this your deepest breath yet. Inhaling to lift and arch, breathing in, exhaling to round the spine, chin to chest, breathe out. Find a comfortable, neutral, seated position and take a second to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day for this practice. I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and respects the light that exists within each and every one of you. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's class. If you did, I've got some good news. There is a new version of this class aired every Sunday. I don't know if you guys noticed the flickering of the lights or the thundering going on outside, but the entire time as I was teaching, I was saying in the back of my head, please don't let this video cut out, please don't let the lights cut out. So I feel like it worked. If you enjoyed my teaching style, but maybe this class is a little too difficult, I also teach a Vinyasa yoga class that is aired every Thursday. It's structured much the same, but without the core work. Whether you thought this class was easy or hard, if you want to try that out, you can find that every Thursday. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.